$5,887,710 people voted no to not recall him, yes on keeping him, and 3,336,480 of my fellow Californians voted against him. In other words, voted yes on the recall to get rid of him, and 47% of the people who voted in the second question, in other words, who would you want to replace Gavin Newsom if in fact he is recalled, 47% at this count have chosen or chose Larry Elder, which is pretty insane. So here's the way to understand that math. 47% of the people clearly did not, nowhere near 47%, wanted Gavin Newsom to be recalled, but because of the Democratic strategy that basically told people to not vote for the second question, a lot of Democrats left that blank. And so as a result, Larry Elder, a Republican, got 47%, while the Republican position of voting yes on the recall only got like 35%. So that's how those numbers played out. As you remember, I was recommending that people vote for Kevin Paffrath, someone my brother calls Kevin Packrat, and he got like 9% of the vote or something. And then, it was split amongst a whole bunch of other people. The good news, unless you are a huge Caitlyn Jenner fan, is that Caitlyn Jenner barely got, I believe, 1% of the vote, which makes sense. So I am in, you have to guess the country, Paul. It's a country that is an hour ahead of you in Ireland. That's the only clue that I'm going to give you. And we are 2 minutes away from eating apple together. So let me talk. So I wanted to just say thank you again for all of those of you who helped with the recall. Either you voted no on the recall, or you posted things, or you talked to people about it, because we got a decent turnout. Now we're going to need to keep that momentum going to keep the House seats, even in California, that are going to be up for in the midterms in November. But we're going to be talking a lot between now and the midterms about what we can do and what we need to do. I want to say I saw this article that is just laughably horrible. And that was that the Republicans, and of course Donald Trump, are up in arms. Oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world. Because General Mark Milley, who is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, right? And that is, you've got the head guy from the Marines, head guy from the Navy, head guy from the Army, head guy from the Air Force, and all those guys. Every year it rotates, and a different head, a different top general gets to be the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And this year now it is General Mark Milley. And he got a lot of heat, remember, because he was along with Donald Trump when he went and he held up that Bible at this church across from the White House. And he shouldn't have been involved in that in any way. And there have been other issues where Mark Milley has had to walk a very fine line between being a military officer and pleasing the commander-in-chief, because that's what military people do. They have to, it's the hierarchy, right? They have to please the commander-in-chief. And so Mark Milley clearly did not please the former commander-in-chief, because the book that came out that was discussing what happened after January 6th and made it very clear, right, because there was some really good reporting there, that in fact Mark Milley was freaked out after a phone call with Nancy Pelosi, and around that time, and by the January 6th insurrection, he was freaked out, and he thought that Donald Trump was unhinged. And I played something for you guys yesterday in my special pre-recorded show, that Donald Trump was unhinged, and he, Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, was concerned that Donald Trump would in fact either bomb North Korea or China or Iran, and that he was a deranged loose cannon. So, to protect the world from going into an unnecessary war, spurred on by a guy who would not even face the reality that he lost the election, Mark Milley did what seemed incredibly reasonable to me. You tell me if you agree. Kevin, it is 9:17 p.m. and I'm going to eat my apple in a few minutes. Paul says it's 8:15 where I am in Ireland. That's correct. Well, it's now 8:17, so it is 9, right? 14. Richard, as he said, he was 1 hour ahead. A mystery location so far. Okay, it is. But, okay, that's your guess. That might be the right guess, and maybe it's not. So let's stay on track here. So Mark Milley does this, and he looks every single one of his reporting, people that direct reports in the eye and said, promise me you are not going to do any actions that come from the White House, including the president, unless I am involved. In other words, I need to sign off on any of these actions that may be coming from the White House, because there are concerns that what might be coming from the White House may not be, shall we say, legal or appropriate or in the best security interests of the United States or the frickin' world, okay? So Marco Rubio, in this article that I saw, it was actually a video. Good question, Camian. Camian's asking, do you think the general's actions thwarted 45's actions? Well, it could be that one of the people that Mark Milley, General Milley, was speaking to is a Trump supporter who then got back to Donald Trump and said, listen, you're not going to be able to get away with this because Milley's all over your, okay? Although I think if that had been the case, Camian, Mark Milley, Donald Trump would have talked about this before. But it seems like he didn't really know what was going on, which is wise, and which is what the military should be doing, and not letting someone who has the ability to do massive damage know what the preventative plans are to keep him from doing massive damage. Anyway, so Marco Rubio says at the very least he should be fired, and he probably should be court-martialed. Now, what kind of patriotism is there when you have a Republican Party that cares more about not hurting the feelings of a crazy man than in protecting the national security of the United States and the world? I think Mark Milley is a flippin' hero. I think he deserves a Congressional Medal of Honor or a National Medal of Honor or